Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally jumping on the bandwagon and doing the one marker challenge. So I chose my marker by throwing all my markers on the floor and then choosing one at random with my eyes closed, and I promise my eyes were closed. So materials I am using for this piece are my E71 Champagne Copic marker, a white Sakura Jellyroll, a Pigma Micron Pen size 01, my red lead drawing pencil, and of course an eraser. So I chose these materials because even though it's a one marker challenge, I feel like these materials are something that every artist should have access to. Everyone needs a drawing pencil, everyone needs a pen, everyone needs an eraser. So those are why I'm using these in with this challenge. You guys may consider it cheating, that's okay, but that's how I'm doing this challenge. Also, my pencil is red because I refuse to use graphite pencils. I do not like them. I do not like how messy they are. So the only drawing pencils I have are these red lead ones. So that is what I'm going to use. But you can also use a graphite pencil in the same way I'm using this in these certain techniques. Okay, now that that is out of the way, I am going to get on to the main part of this video, which I want to give you guys some tips on how to make your materials go farther, how you can make good artwork when you are limited in art supplies. So, it is no surprise out there that I also have been a young, poor artist. I still am a young, poor artist, actually, but moving on anyway. So I understand that not everyone has access to like a whole bunch of markers. So if you have one or two markers, you really need to learn how to make those work for you in the best possible way. So the first tip I'm going to give is do not be reliant on those markers. Now, this is something I noticed a lot of artists do. They find like a marker or like something they really love to use and they want to learn how to use it and they want a whole bunch of them. So they start to make art with it, and then they're so reliant on that marker, but they're not using it to the best that they can to make good art. So what I mean by this, take this drawing for example. I knew I had a lightish brown color and I knew I wanted to do most of the coloring with that color. I wanted to color the hair and the antlers and the skin all with that color. So in order to do that, I needed to be really, really reliant on my line work. The line work is what is going to make everything stand out from one another. The color is just going to be an addition. I want my work to be able to stand alone just with the pen, because if my art can stand alone with the pen, then that means when I add the marker, it's just going to make it look even better. So have a solid foundation with what you're working on first. It doesn't have to be line work. I know a lot of people don't like to use line work, that is okay, but when you have something so limited as a marker is a very limiting supply, especially if you only have one color, so you need to find something to support it with. So that's tip number one, have a strong foundation and support your markers or your colors with something else that can support it. So my second tip is to add texture. Texture is so very important, especially when you're only using one color. So, for example, again, what I'm doing here, you can see in the face, it's really clear. I have little lines, very little lines on the face, and I do go in and eventually add freckles to make it more interesting, but for the most part the face is really clear. Now the hair, on the other hand, has so many lines, it has so many cross-hatching, and I try to add gradients in there with the pen. This really makes it look that the hair and the skin are made of different materials. So when you're looking at this, it doesn't look flat. It looks like, okay, her skin is one thing and her hair is another thing. It really sets it apart. And it's really easy to add texture with a pen because, like I said, you can add lines, you can add different line weights, you can do stippling, you can do cross-hatching. There's so many different things you can do. And for the antlers, I even go in and add little dashes to make it look just different. Just making your objects or materials look different from each other. That can really go a long way with just adding a little extra something to your painting so it doesn't look as flat or as boring, I guess. So what I'm doing here, guys, please don't say I'm cheating, because you can do this with a regular pencil as well. Mine just so happens to be red, but I'm adding value with something, not only the marker. I am using every single one of my supplies to like the best of my ability that I can. For some reason, I feel like artists are kind of scared of using pencils in like their finished works, especially like graphite pencils or drawing pencils. But really, especially when you have limited supplies, you need to use everything you have. So just adding a little bit of graphite or a little bit of pencil here and there, like I really focused it under the eyes and on the nose. And as you can see, it really adds to help with the value. So with markers especially, it's so hard to get value when you just have one color. So use other supplies. Use anything else you have that can be in addition to your markers. Another tip I have, this is one, it's more focused toward markers. If you only have one marker, you really want to layer it. So when I went in with the skin, I went in with a really, really light hand, and I just added one quick layer of marker. I didn't really saturate the paper that much, and then I let that dry, and then when I go over it a few more times, it gets darker. So that is something you really have to play with markers before it kind of makes sense. But layering with markers is very, very important when you don't have a lot of them, because you can make your one marker have many different shades to it, even though it's just one marker. So yes, those were my tips for this one marker challenge. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really liked doing this. It was a lot more fun than I thought I would, and I'm really happy with how it came out too. So I hope you guys do try this challenge because it was a lot of fun, and again, with every drawing challenge that I do, I feel like I learned something new, and this one was no different. It's really interesting to think of different ways you can add value and texture and all kinds of things to your drawings, and doing drawing challenges limits you in like the best possible way. So I always find I learn stuff whenever I do it. So I highly encourage you guys to do so, and if you do, please upload it to social media and show me by using #FairyFam, and I will devour your guys' art because I love looking at your guys' art. It's so inspiring to me, and you guys are so awesome. And yes, anyway, I am rambling on here. I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!